with 11:16 to go here in the third.
All right, man. I'm going to save the best for last. I got an incredible nugget. Y'all stick around for this nugget. I talked to the Beard about it off air. It's a ridiculous statistic that's not going to make Giants fans feel good about themselves. But let's talk about this loss to the 49ers. 30-12. It was 17-6 at halftime. I called this game 31-13 on our preview show. I was damn close on this one. The 49ers get their 13th straight regular season win. The Giants finished with just 150 yards of offense. Our lone touchdown was Matt Breida's 8-yard touchdown run that was set up by two 49er penalties, so I don't even want to give us props on that one. CMC had his 12th straight game with the touchdown. The 49ers dominated all categories in this one: total yards, rushing yards, passing yards, first downs, third down conversions, and time of possession. The New York Giants' 150 total yards are the lowest in 10 straight seasons. We had 121 yards passing. That was the lowest, not the lowest of the year. I keep making this mistake. I made this mistake on the Giant Overreaction. The lowest of the year was 63 versus Dallas, and then you come out here against San Francisco 49ers, and you put up 121 yards passing. Two terrible performances through the air for a team that we thought was going to stretch the field this year. We have not seen that through 3 games pretty much, outside of the 2 quarters against the Arizona Cardinals. San Francisco 49ers had 441 yards. It's the most total allowed by the New York Giants since last year against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Managed a way to get a W in that game, which is crazy. You can thank ATN for his fumble late in that one. Now, the New York Giants have been outscored in the first half in 3 games, 63-6. That's not good. That is not good. It's very Washington. This is very 90s Cleveland Browns-esque. I don't even know if we can say this is Washington-esque. Don't forget the 28-0 halftime performance against the Philadelphia Eagles in the divisional round. A lot of these things I talked about on the Giant Overreaction. Now, the Giants have the worst first half point differential through 3 games since 1991 in our franchise history here. We are one of 2 teams that have not scored a first half touchdown. I think that the Cincinnati Bengals might have been the other team, which is kind of interesting. They also paid their quarterback. Brock Purdy in this game played pretty decent, if you ask me. Not his best game, but he played pretty damn good. 25 of 37, 310 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, no turnovers. He had a little bit of a slow start, but they converted 2 third and longs early on in this game that I thought would dictate the way that the rest of this game would go. And the New York Giants defense, we struggled in this game. 49ers had more yak than the New York Giants had total yards of offense. I'd love to see a statistic of how many times that's ever happened in the history of the NFL, because that's not supposed to happen. And Deebo Samuel would be in the dictionary right next to that yak stat if we had one. The Giants blitzed Brock Purdy on 84.6% of his dropbacks. It was the highest blitz rate in the game in the next-gen stat era, okay? 247 of Brock Purdy's 310 yards came when the New York Giants were blitzing him. So when you look at this game from Brock Purdy, take it with a grain of salt. They were putting pressure on him. They kind of tried to do what the Buffalo Bills did to Sam Howell. Send a blitz at him, young quarterback. Let's see if we can get him rattled, get him out there seeing a little bit of ghost and whatnot, and maybe he'll make the mistake. Brock Purdy never made the mistake. Okay, he averaged 2.34 seconds to throw the ball. That was the fastest time to throw of his entire career. Giants defense missed 16 tackles on the day. Xavier McKinney was on record saying, like, hey, tackling is not the reason why we're in the position we're in. I think he's kind of leaning towards, look at our offense. Our offense is not playing good. When you look at 6 points in the first half of 3 games, no touchdowns in the first half for the New York Giants through 3 games, that's pitiful. But the defense can't be looking at the offense trying to put the blame on them. This is a team effort of bad football across the board for the New York Giants. And last, what I really want to talk about here is Daniel Jones. And a lot of people were looking at this game like, how is Daniel Jones supposed to stretch the field, when he doesn't have time in the pocket? And I will agree, yeah, they're pressuring him, right? But Brock Purdy had more pressure percentage of his snaps on the day than Daniel Jones did. And I know we're looking at the San Francisco 49ers, weapons, but their number one weapon as far as wide receivers go was not here in this game. Brandon Ayuk was sidelined with an injury. So you're looking at George Kittle. I look at George Kittle. I look at Darren Waller. That's a wash. We had no Saquon Barkley. They had CMC. You got to give him the one up there. And with Deebo Samuel, obviously Deebo Samuel is better than every wide receiver that we have on our team. So I do think that you can look at these things with a grain of salt for sure. But Brock Purdy was under more pressure in this game than Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones on the day, and I'm going to pull up his numbers here so y'all can see these here as well. The Beard, you can handle that for me as I just rattle off the numbers. Daniel Jones, 22 of 32, 437 yards. 0 touchdowns, 1 interception, a QBR 41.2, okay? Daniel Jones, 137 passing yards is the fewest in Giants history of any quarterback who had at least 22 completions in a game. goes to show you that this is different than dink and dink and dunk. This is like dink and you get nothing, okay? I don't know what the average yards were per play, but I guarantee you it was very low.
3.3 yards per play for the New York Giants offense.
I don't think we need the Beard here anymore if you're going to be rattling off numbers like that for me, okay? I didn't know it was going to be that low. Golly, goddamn, Beard, that was tough. Jalen Hyatt, 0 targets, played just 12 snaps on passing downs. 0 targets. I don't know what the coaching staff is doing with Jalen Hyatt, but we got to fix this immediately, okay? The Giants had just 11 rushing attempts. I know we had no Saquon Barkley, but you cannot go out here and do that against a team like the San Francisco 49ers. You can't just have Daniel Jones dropping back to pass every damn down. They're trying to keep everybody on the team in pass pro pretty much, having 2-man route concepts. Like, what is Daniel Jones supposed to do in these situations? So as much as Daniel Jones, I think, kind of like stunk it up in this game, right? A lot of it you got to put on the coaching staff, okay? Now, this is the nugget of the day right here. This nugget, when I went and did the research on this nugget, you're not going to see this nowhere else yet. Ain't nobody talked about this yet. This is why y'all tune into Awthentik and The Beard, because we do heavy research on this show. Okay, I heard some content creators bragging about not having notes. Best of luck to you, okay? Because having notes is a great thing. Doing your research is a great thing because people are up here, they want to get good information. The Beard, he doing it OG style on paper, pen to paper. We putting in the work here, okay? I went back and looked at every Daniel Jones game dating all the way back to his rookie year, right? And y'all know me, I've talked about this a bunch on this channel last season. I said consistency with Daniel Jones has been the problem. And we could ignore consistency leaving Arizona, right? Because you got a great second half out of Daniel Jones, broke hella records. We came up here on the Giant Overreaction on the recap last week and gave Daniel Jones nothing but props, okay? We put him on a pedestal, and we talked about how good of a performance he had because that's what I do over here, dog. I'm not about to be like setting up narratives in the positive or in the negative. I can just look at it and assess it. Looking at Daniel Jones, every one of his games, y'all know if you watch this show, I talked about it last year. He went through the regular season last year without having multiple passing touchdowns in consecutive games ever throughout the season, okay? He did not do it throughout the entire season last year, and he has not done it throughout this season in 3 games this year. So I decided to go back and look at every game. Daniel Jones now has gone 36 straight regular season games without having 2 touchdowns passing in back-to-back games. 36 straight games. They paid this dude $160 million. I'm going to say that. I don't care whose feelings it hurts. He's gone 36 straight games without going back-to-back multiple passing touchdowns.
How many
games? The last time, 36.
Yeah,
Jerome Bettis, you know that jersey that he wore?
One more time.
36 straight games, okay? That is pathetic. I don't give a damn if you're Nathan Peterman. I don't care if you're Kellen Moore as a backup quarterback. I don't care if you're Mike White. That is pathetic to have 36 straight games in the regular season where you have not gone back-to-back games with more than 1 passing touchdown. And what's the knock been on Daniel Jones? Consistency, consistency, consistency. He's a 1 touchdown a game type of guy. That's what everybody been saying. And the numbers show you that that is facts. I don't care what kind of deficiencies you're dealing with. And some people going to look at this and go, oh, but the offensive line, the weapons, the coaching staff, the blah, blah, blah. Well, the last time that he did this was with the old coaching staff, okay, with Jason Garrett and Joe Judge. He has not done that. He has not had back-to-back games with more than 1 passing touchdown since October 20th, week 7. He's had, Daniel Jones in his career now has had 57 starts, man. 57 whole starts. He has just 3 times in his entire career that he has went back-to-back games with multiple passing touchdowns. You cannot tell me that that is okay from a starting quarterback in the NFL through 57 starts.
Definitely not in 2023.
That's where my notes end. That's where they end. That's where the notes end, man.
36.
I cannot keep making up excuses for this quarterback. If we're talking about a guy being paid starter franchise money, you can go and debate it and say, oh, but, you know, we got outs in the contract. And we, you know, he's the 11th or the 14th highest paid quarterback in the NFL. You could say whatever you want. You could try to make up whatever excuses you want. Myself here on this channel with Awthentik and The Beard, I'm not going to make up excuses for the quarterback. When you don't have your star running back on the field, when you don't have your left tackle on the field, yes, we know we got to look at these games with a grain of salt when you're going up against a great defense like the San Francisco 49ers. But what I heard all week on Twitter when I posted stuff like, hey, Hey, y'all, I'm worried about weeks 3 through 6, especially right now, coming off a game where we just barely snuck out of that game. We don't got our left tackle out there on the field. I'm worried about weeks 3 through 6. Oh, don't be worried. This is just a litmus test for Daniel Jones to see where he stands when he doesn't have a left tackle out there. I'm looking that he's going to put this team on his back, and we're probably going to go out here and compete against the San Francisco 49ers. And if you want to say you didn't say it, I told y'all I keep the bookmarks, man. I got the receipts, bro. I got the receipts. This cannot continue. If you know what I do over here on Awthentik and The Beard, and a lot of people have been coming at me the past couple of weeks because I'm like, look, man, I kind of tried to tell y'all it's going to be a slow start, right? If you know what I do over here, I've been talking about this. I'm not here to take shots at Daniel Jones or anybody else. That's not my thing.
The numbers don't lie.
The numbers don't lie. Men, women, they lie. The numbers don't lie. The numbers are right there for you. Again, 36 straight games that this dude has not put up multiple passing touchdowns. Regular season games. That cannot happen moving forward. So for me, I got question marks today. I have question marks. I was listening to a couple of spaces today, and in these spaces, I felt appalled for New York Giants fans because anytime somebody jump in with any type of data that says, hey, man, this quarterback is struggling. This team, y'all want to say it's a rebuild. But everybody was going off of what Joe Shane said. We're trying to win and rebuild at the same time. This team right here does not look ready to compete. This team paid a quarterback to try to win games and get to a Super Bowl. And we all know that wasn't going to happen probably this season, and I'm not ruling it out. I remember last year, Bobby ruled out the Super Bowl early. He was like, this is not going to be a team that's going to be in the Super Bowl. I was like, Bobby, man, pump the brakes, man. Bobby was right. All right, Bobby was right. So I ain't going to rule it out again because I am a fan who, I like to cling on to hope, right? But this, to me, does not look like a playoff ball club. This, to me, does not look like a team that is competing. And you spent the dollars. The Giants really got $0 this year. You go into next year, we're going to have a little bit more cap space, over $50 million and whatnot, right? But it's not like you can just go and just move on from this quarterback. The dead cap hit next year is something serious, okay? You can't just move on. But the thought that we absolutely had no other options, because that's what all Giants fans were telling me in the offseason, right? What's the other options? What are the options? And when I present the options, they go, we ain't drafting no rookie quarterback. What do we look like drafting a rookie quarterback? When I say bring in a bridge quarterback, they go, well, why would we do that? Daniel Jones
Gardner
is the best
Minshew
option.
just beat the Baltimore Ravens. So.
He did, and they got robbed. Let's not let's not forget that. They definitely robbed Lamar Jackson on that last pass on 4th down, but nonetheless, they won the game. They won the game. Gardner Minshew's a gamer, right? And I'm not sitting here to just rag on the quarterback. I think he can get better. Like I said, the coaches are not putting him in position to win games. How do you expect Daniel Jones to be able to, he needs a wall of an offensive line. He is that type of quarterback. And now teams got tape on all these stupid little boots we like to do. They tried to leave Nick Bosa open on one of these boots. You think Nick Bosa falling for that bullshit? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And Daniel Jones was under pressure all day in this game. But when you look at the pressure statistics across the league, I think I saw Daniel Jones either 17th. It might have been 12th. So either one of those numbers, that's middle of the pack. That's middle of the pack. And I just wanted to bring that to y'all attention today. For the people that are blind when it comes to quarterback assessment, and it's always, I got faith in him. I got faith in him. I feel you, because the Beard will tell you, before we started this podcast, I was a fan just like that. That's how I looked at the game. And it used to ruin my weeks, man. I'd be like, God, you remember the hurdle that I did up here in the dining room? You remember that hurdle I did when I thought we scored a touchdown, the ball popped up, got intercepted? When I'm talking about a high jump, my knees went over my shoulders. Just imagine my knees jumping up that high, going over my shoulders.
I remember, look, I'm just going to throw this out there because this is good talk. I remember the 50-something yard field goal that Graham Gano kicked for Carolina.
Oh my God. Yo, bro, these Giants.
I remember those stretching games for Awthentik in the living room.
The Deshaun Jackson punt return in Scotty's basement, bro. I walked out and I didn't even say a word, yo. I was just like, so we know how to lose, man. We've been losing as a fan base. We've been watching the New York Giants lose for so long. We've had 5 years of inept football. This is all I ask from y'all. I'm never, ever going to come up on this show and put all the blame on the quarterback. I'm never going to do that.
Yeah.
Now, if we had Sam Howell performance, I might do that. Okay? And this past four interceptions, I might be like, yo, it was all on the quarterback. We aren't. I am. You aren't. We aren't. But I'm just saying, right? I'm not going to do that. That's not my swagger. I ain't going to just be like, it's all him. But people feel like that when they go online. When they see you post a statistic from a Daniel Jones game like the one I just gave y'all off, 36 regular season starts without back-to-back games of multiple touchdowns is absolutely ridiculous, right? And when I post that and I go to Twitter and I post that or I post this clip, you're going to see people like thinking I'm taking shots, I'm hating. But I just want to try to make the picture a little bit more clear for you.
Yes.
Right now, this don't look like a franchise quarterback. And I just got to assess it for right now. It's what I'm seeing. It does not look like a franchise quarterback. We can make up all the excuses in the world. I saw Kirk Cousins go out there without his center, without his left tackle. And granted, he's got Justin Jefferson out there. He's got the little youngin out there, Jordan Addison as well. But we got Darren Waller, man. We got Jalen Hyatt, who we're not using. We got Darius
snaps
Slayton.
He played, right? Only 10 snaps?
He played 12 passing snaps, and he was on the field for 17 total or 16 total, I believe it was. That's not it. And then when he finally got the one chance where he got open on a great route, it's my favorite route. The Beard knows it. I'm always running this route when we played on our two-hand touch team. I love that 7 route. As soon as I come open and I turn the shoulders, the ball need to be, don't put it on me too hot, right? I want to be able to see it, see the release. In the NFL, we need anticipation. Jalen Hyatt's coming out that route. Daniel Jones is right there. And the one thing that I'm noticing from Daniel Jones is he don't want to stand in that pocket and take them hits. It's like he's predetermining, man, I got these guys up front. I'm missing my left tackle. I got a bunch of guys they just drafted that they're throwing out there on the offensive line. I ain't about to sit up in his pocket and take no unnecessary hits. So when he sees that pressure start to stagger back towards him a little bit, and these be the kind of pressures that do get quarterbacks injured, players down there around your knees and whatnot, he is not willing to stay in there and take the shot. And on this particular one, Bobby got a great breakdown of this that's on his Twitter. Just go to Bobby at Bobby Skinner, 2 underscores, I believe, are after his Twitter name, and check out the play. I retweeted it. He bails out of the pocket. There's a little pressure up front. Left tackle, left guard, getting pushed back a little bit. He could have stayed in the pocket and made the throw. He rolls out of the pocket. Even when he rolled out the pocket, he's looking right at Jalen Hyatt down that field. He does not pull the trigger. He rolls all the way to the sideline, and he does make a good play here to not take a sack. Last minute, he had both his arms were tied by the defender, and he did this like little underhand pitch, and he got rid of the ball. That's a heads-up play from him. But at the end of the day, man, this offense was built around Daniel Jones and the New York Giants offense to stretch the field. When you get these opportunities, man, you got to throw that ball up. And we saw it against the Arizona Cardinals, man. He had one where it's one-on-one. I'm taking Jalen Hyatt one-on-one on any defender right now that at least it's not going to be an interception at bare minimum. Put the ball up. You got to put the ball up, and that's not going to save this game. One play is definitely not going to save this game. The Giants offense was just completely inept all day long. You cannot expect to win games with 11 rushing attempts. I'm going to repeat this to y'all again. Go check out the video. It's 2 minutes of your time. The identity of the New York Giants. And it brought me back to something last year. Justin Pennick talked about this last year, and I repeated it a few times on this show. He said the New York Giants are building this team around Saquon Barkley instead of building it around a good rushing attack. It's a great bar because you look at this when you remove Saquon Barkley, not only are we ineffective running the ball, we're not even getting the attempts that we need to run the ball. We got 3 running backs, 4 if you want to add Daniel Jones. You got 11 attempts total. What
was the bar from Giant Overreaction, the one that you screenshotted of the guy who was talking about the 2022 Giants beat the 2023 Giants right now?
Yeah, he did say that. I'm glad you remembered it. I had the screenshot here. I was about to pull it up, but that's what it was. He said that the 2022 team would beat us, and they would. Paris Campbell has not came in and filled the shoes of Richie James yet. Isaiah Hodgins is just another guy out there on the field. I like him as a possession receiver, and he's, he can get in the end zone. We've seen that. I want to say he scored in 4 of his last 6. Darius Slayton can do what he does. I question how come we're not using our speed on the outside a little bit more.
Yeah, that
Darius
to
Slayton
me,
and Hyatt both.
That I would feel like, a lot of times, and I think this kind of is like full circle on the anticipation and stuff like that, right? Like you would think a lot of times that with speed on the outside and a guy who's under pressure a lot, right? You would have a play designed to, where somebody's going to take one of the safeties out and that guy's going to use his speed and you're just a 3-step and just let release. Sort of a situation,
you would think, and
right?
we don't do that a lot, and I don't know the kind of coverage that we're seeing in this game. I see my homie Antonio is in the chat, and he could probably answer this. Antonio, if you're hearing this right now, put this in the chat box for me. Let me know what kind of coverage they was running. Was the 49ers running a lot of cover 1, or did you see 2 safeties over the top? Because if you got 2 safeties over the top, these whole shots become way more difficult.
Yes.
If you got one safety over the top, what you saying is dead perfect. It's how Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase were eating last season, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get one safety over the top, one read, I'm going to look the safety off this way, going back to the other side. But I don't even see a lot of formations with Darius Slayton on one side of the formation, outside receiver, and then Jalen Hyatt is the other outside receiver. So you can give Daniel Jones those options, especially if you're going against cover one. But this kid was paid to pull the trigger. The knock on him last year was this exact thing, not being able to pull the trigger on throws down the field. It's an issue. And I know defensively we had our woes. You know, I see Marjorie bringing up some statistics that we were one or two teams that don't have an interception, I believe it was. Yeah, the defense is bad. Can't get off the field on third down. These two young corners, I like what they're doing in coverage, but when it comes to stepping up and stopping the run, not so good. Darnay Holmes is better in the slot at stopping the run than Adoree Jackson is. Adoree Jackson is better in the slot at covering these wide receivers, can't tackle in the run that great. We need to almost take them and have a baby and fuse them and make them into one player. We know Darnay Holmes can't cover on the back end. It's a poor performance from the New York Giants. It's against the greater competition. That's the one thing that I can walk away from this game from and be like, all right, we can't compete right now against the good teams, but maybe we can go out here against teams like the Seattle Seahawks and maybe find ways to win.
Yeah. It's interesting too because we talk about the 36. You talk about the 7 route. You know who throws that 7 route like one of the best in the league right now is
Who's
Justin
that?
Herbert.
Oh, Herbert. Oh, my God. I thought you were saying Daniel Jones. I was about to lose my damn mind. But, yeah, Herbert is great at it.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy because, you know, there's a lot of that talk, and we've had the discussion here for the debate purposes on Daniel Jones. Is Daniel Jones a top 10 quarterback? And Daniel Jones this and that, right? Should Daniel Jones be a top 10 quarterback?
Right.
Is he? I guarantee you that all 9, if you wanted to say Daniel Jones was the 10th best quarterback, I guarantee you all 9 of those quarterbacks have more back-to-back, you know.
Oh, consecutive games with
2
multiple
or more
touchdowns. Yeah.
Every single one.
Every time I say that, it's like it's such a hard thing to word, right? But that's just what it is. As simple as you can put it, it's having 2 games in a row with at least 2 passing touchdowns. Like that's not a lot to ask.
It's not a lot to ask.
It's not a lot to ask.
That should be the norm.
Yeah.
If you're gonna put Dan. For Giants fans that do, and I'm not saying all Giants fans do, but for the Giants fans that do put Daniel Jones in that bracket of a top 10 quarterback, you cannot be a top 10 quarterback and not have and go 36. This isn't like a 5-game, 10-game stretch.
Yeah, it's bad.
10 sounds crazy.
It's 3 seasons of this, pretty much.
Yes. 36 games? No, you can't. Listen. You cannot be a franchise quarterback. You cannot be a top 10 quarterback. You cannot be a playoff contender without one of those sort of things if you're doing that. You just can't. Yeah. So they have to find a way.
That's a big fact, bro. That's a big fact right there. Big fact. Like, you can't expect a guy to be consistent if he can't even just do that. Brock Purdy has 9 starts. He has multiple passing touchdowns in 8 of the 9 starts. Yeah. I know it's San Francisco, but y'all told me this team was going to compete. I felt confident that this team was going to start to compete.
Yeah.
And I see it. For those of y'all watching on Twitter, right? I see the numbers done spiked up when I start giving y'all these bars. The flames is definitely out right now. All right? For those of y'all on Twitter that be like, oh, it's the secondary. It's the pass rush. It's Kayvon. Our linebacker, Bobby O, he's not doing good. Oh, Saquon was hurt. Andrew Thomas not in the game. Oh, man, Ben Bredeson's injured. You look at Joshua Zito's not playing well. Mark Lewinsky is trash.
A long list of excuses.
Evan Neal has regressed, and all we needed was for him to play well. Just include the damn quarterback in that. Because right now, if you don't want to call him a problem, he's not the solution. He's not the solution right now. And they got to go back to the drawing board. And we cannot relinquish any of this blame on the coaches, man. These are horrible game plans. I'm just going to call a spade a spade. These are horrible game plans, man. I talked about this when I talk about that identity video, man. You're talking 3-4 straight games where you're neglecting Saquon Barkley, who's a top 5 running back in this league, bar none. Bar none. And then when everything's on the line for your season, you want to try to hand him the ball 8 times in a row, and then he ends up getting hurt.
You see the big difference here? Washington, what was it? 13 carries, right? New York Giants, 11 carries, right?
Yeah.
Philadelphia Eagles, 40.
40.
And they got the best quarterback of all 3 teams.
They do. They really do.
And they're still running the ball 40 times with the best quarterback in the NFC East. Maybe the best quarterback in the entire NFC.
Yeah, maybe in the conference.
And they're running the ball 40 times.
This is the guy that they told me was trash. This is the guy that they said he was a system quarterback, man.
I will tell
he's
you,
a system quarterback.
it was me, you, Entertainer, and Bad Dog when it was the four of us did a show. And I was talking about Jalen Hurts, and I remember this like it was yesterday. Bad Dog was like, I know these Oklahoma quarterbacks.
Yeah.
I watch all the Oklahoma games. Jalen Hurts can't do it. And look where Jalen Hurts is now. Right?
I think that most people are going to say that he's a product of the surroundings around him. But you know what's wild about that? They say that about Nick Sirianni, too. So you telling me, you see, I had to sit. You telling me that a team is that successful and their head coach, you know, the narrative was that Nick Sirianni was being carried last year, and their quarterback is being carried by the roster? When has that ever happened in the history of the game?
Oh, yeah. Let's just say, you know, for, you know, kicks and giggles, they're sitting at 3-0. They lost both of their coordinators. Both of their coordinators are gone. No, the offensive coordinator, new one. Defensive coordinator, new one. What's the two constants? Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni.
They find ways to win games ugly. And I think, you know, yeah, Dallas is the cream of the crop with the Eagles in the NFC East, right? But that's the difference. Dallas can't win them ugly games like that against decent competition. Dallas going to struggle. Dallas got to find a way that when they're down on the scoreboard to be able to protect the ball. Like I told y'all, in Dak Prescott's dating back to last season, 10 touchdowns, 7 interceptions when trailing, that's not a franchise-winning quarterback either. You're not getting to the Super Bowl like that. And y'all know I don't like throw shade at Dak Prescott like that. When I did my top 10 rankings entering the season, Dak Prescott was my number 10 quarterback on that list, and I thought he was going to rise up because he had a down year last year. So far, the Dallas Cowboys have been winning games on the back of their defense and their offense just being just good.
What's Jalen Hurts' record as the starting quarterback?
I started off their segment with it. He's 20-1 in his last 21 starts.